Could you please tell me what is your name
My name is Mary Elizabeth Zabaneh.
and how old are you?
I am 80 years old. On November 5th, 1942, I was born.
When and where did you live before, places that you have lived?
Well, I've always lived in Belize City, and for 4 years of my life when I went to college, I lived in Lafayette, Louisiana. Other than that, I haven't lived anywhere else. And after I got married in 1965, I came to live in Independence.
Okay. How did you meet the Right Honorable George Cadle Price?
Honorable George Price is my uncle by my mother's side. He's my mother's brother, and he became a real reality in my life in 1949, October, when we moved to live with him in the family home on Pickstock Street to take care of his younger brother and sister because my grandmother had died. And so after that, we were really a part of his life.
Can you share any memorable information about Mr. Price?
Like I say, Uncle George became a reality in our life. I must have been about 7 or 8. And we lived in the family home from 1949 until 1956 when I started second year of high school. And by that time, well, his younger brother and sister, as I said, they had all made lives for themselves. And I guess he preferred to live alone, not wanting to feel probably obligated to my father, who was married to his sister, Jane. And so after that, even though we did not live in the same house, we never drifted apart. The relationship was always there. And I would say that Uncle George was a good, great Christian man with many values, both moral and spiritual. And he tried to teach us, his younger nieces and nephews, to live like that. He was very frugal. He was not a spendthrift. Well, we didn't have much money anyway. But he didn't think that you needed to have more than 2 shirts on your back and 1 pair of shoes. He was that kind of a person. Very kind, very straight up, no nonsense. He didn't live in a gray world. If something wasn't right, then it had to be wrong. So you had to look for the right way all the time, which was there. He didn't believe much in what we call a convenient lie or a little white lie or to fabricate something to get out of something. He wasn't much like that. At least me, I have always tried to adopt some of those principles. He loved to play the piano. He was very spiritual. Read his Bible every day. He said you had to be focused in life, so we didn't have a radio, we didn't have television, nothing like that. And then the old radio that was in the house was only allowed to be played like 15 or 20 minutes a day just to hear the news, because one should be distracted. He said if you had a purpose or something in mind, then you worked towards that. You put your heart and your soul into that. You would often say, be like Ramsey Mule. You put on your blinders and you go towards your goal and don't be distracted. Yes, as a child, I used to wonder why these people would come to the house all the time. And I remember people like Mr. Eddie Austin, Mr. Reen Rodon, Mr. Johnny Smith, all the old people who formed the old party. I think it started with something to do with a union. They used to come in the evening and sit around this old table. I think the table is in Belmupan now. And we just used to, as children, just watch. You know, there was an old chair that I used to stand behind on the rockers, and while they're talking, we would be rocking, listening to them. What they did or said then didn't mean very much to us, but that was the beginning of the revolution, you would call it. When they were going to have the first Simon Lamb parade, I remember how we stood downstairs under the house and wrapped all the torches that the people used. I distinctly remember that. Yeah, we would get up to go to Mass in the morning with him because he went to Mass faithfully every 5:30. Sometimes we would get up, sometimes we would not get up. When we didn't get up, he would bang on the floor because he lived downstairs and we lived upstairs. He told us, he says, that little girls should be very modest. If they weren't for sale, then don't advertise. So you don't wear short shorts and you don't wear spaghetti straps. You keep yourself covered. You must be modest. And after I got married and came here, then he would come here to eat. That's how we have that picture of him playing the piano. Because he would come and relax, play the piano a little bit, and then he would sit and eat. He asked us not to give him escabeche because everywhere he goes, he gets escabeche. That's the favorite food. So I know escabeche. And then he would tell us, if you give me 2 pieces of chicken, bring a plate. So I take out 1 piece because when you play up in the food, nobody else can eat it. But if you take out a piece and I don't eat all, then somebody else can have it. Or if I want a second piece, I can have it. So at his plate was always his plate of food and then an extra plate in case he wanted to have something else. And he appreciated everything that we did. Every time we knew that he was coming in an official capacity, our little village council here would always plan something special for him in the community center. And he came very often. I guess it was easier for him to come then because those were the days of working towards the independence and the revolution. Now that everything has happened, well, the work is more. But no, I'm like I say, I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to actually live and walk the walk with him.
I'm so blessed to be one of niece.
And the first niece.
Oh, the first.
The first niece, because I'm the first of the next generation.
Oh, okay.
So I have one aunt left. She just became 93 on December 28th. And then after she dies, then if there is an order of dying, then I am the next. I am the next in line.
Oh,
So that's my generation starts now. I wanted to say that many times before this, when I used to have to give little talks at school or they'd ask me to talk at a graduation or so, the majority of the times I would look up his speeches to see what he told the students when he used to have to talk to them and try to gather or reiterate some of the things that he told them about.